all in favor of deporting Los Angeles citizens that are defacing property, burning down buildings, burning down cars, breaking into cars, all because they're trying to defend people that shouldn't have been here in the first place. So if you want to defend them so badly, get all your money, get all your belongings, jump in the back of the van with them and just go.
So I'm sure you guys have heard by now, but Los Angeles is on fire again. But this time it's not because of wildfires or a mismanaged water supply. It's burning because, once again, we have unhinged liberal activists who have been taught that violence is how you solve problems. And while most of us look at this and say, this is not how change happens, the so-called party of love and tolerance seem to think that violence and destruction is always the answer. And while we can often look at what is happening and talk about that, I'm interested in the why. Why are people doing this? Now, to even try to understand that mindset, you do have to crawl into a very dark space where truth and facts and reality do not exist, and where you are force-fed contradictions that turn your sense of right and wrong completely upside down. And that, of course, is the point. Leftist messaging is designed to create this inner chaos, and it rewires people to hate truth, to embrace rage, and to attack anybody who actually does want things to get better. Because if your moral compass is broken, then you are that much easier to control. And despite how often they try to tell us that they know everything about compassion and empathy, this rage that they are demonstrating does not come from a place of compassion. It comes from pure manipulation. It is meant to build this army of angry, unstable activists who help usher in a system where elites rule over the desperate, dependent population. And what are some of those contradictions that are fueling this inner fire? Well, America is evil, yet everyone wants to come here for a better life. We're a white supremacist country, yet we should invite every non-white group to move here and live off our taxpayer-funded programs. We must protect democracy by burning cities to protest democratic outcomes. We're the party of love and empathy, as long as you agree with us and everything that we stand for. Otherwise, fire, threats, and violence for you. The other side is fascist, but we're the ones censoring, canceling, and silencing political opposition through threats and intimidation. I have to say, if I believed all of that, I would probably be furious too. Living in that constant mental conflict would definitely make you unstable. And when you can't find peace, you lash out violently on the outside because naturally, that's what's going to happen. And for everything that they choose to do themselves, they blame Trump, of course. But it's not Trump making them throw Molotov cocktails at police cars or to loot the stores of innocent business owners. That anger and those choices come as a result of being used by people who want to destroy the country from the inside out. Because America's laws, our rights, and our Constitution stand in the way of Democrat leaders who want to abolish the Constitution and destroy a system that keeps them in check. So to get rid of all of that, they've psychologically enslaved their most loyal followers, and they unleash them whenever they can be used to get closer to that goal. And those followers won't question what they're doing or why they're doing it. The LA riots is just another example of how that is true, yet there are many examples, particularly from the last several years, to prove that point. So today I am going to break this all down and show you exactly how this chaos is just part of a much bigger plan. But before we dive deeper into that, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I am Outspoken Samantha, and I really do appreciate you being here. I talk about culture, politics, and a lot of trending topics, and I love to hear what everybody thinks about these things. So let's examine what is going on in California and what is at the root of these protests. And again, how everything that I just laid out is true, and we can base it on the words and actions of the Democrat Party and their mindless base. So let's look at the word dehumanization, because this is a favorite point of liberal activists. Democrats and the media, who are one and the same, will say that Trump is a dictator and a racist, and anybody that supports him is the same. And their proof of that is this narrative that they have created themselves, saying that Republicans and conservatives are soulless white supremacists who don't want Black or brown people in the country, especially if they're immigrants. And they get all that from the fact that we just want legal immigration, regardless of what you look like or where you came from. But because they believe the worst of the lies that their party has told them, They believe that it is their job to save people who are not white, because if they don't save them, then no one else will. And while they repeat that narrative, they're actually demonstrating the exact white savior superiority complex that they accuse us of having. And to further their own dehumanization of immigrants, we can turn to one of the main reasons that we've been hearing from Democrats lately, especially the elites, of why we need to let all brown immigrants stay, which is because that white people are too good for the dirty jobs and we need brown people to do the stuff that is beneath us.
Sending your kids to college to go and work on them. Okay, well, guess who is working the farms? So that you can afford your food.
So that you can have food.
So that you can have food. Now, how many of you are looking to send your kids into hospitality after this college education so that they can go and make the beds at the hotels? How many of you are planning to send your kids to college? Because that's what we do here. We send everybody to college. How many of you are planning to send your kids to college so that they can then go and build these houses? Work that some of the rest of y'all don't want to do.
And this is not just something that Jasmine Crockett has said once, but it's something that she goes around and repeats.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not. We done picking cotton.
So yes, brown people are the black slaves of 2025. We need them to pick our cotton. And this is something, again, that she has said a few times and the leftist media have repeated over and over and over again. But she's not the only one. As Democrat Becca Balint from Vermont said in a meeting recently, as she was talking about the same issue, if we don't let people with darker skin from other countries stay here, there's an even more grotesque task that we won't have anyone to do for white people.
But we see it as an existential issue for the country. If we don't have avenues for people to come here legally to work or to build a home here, I'm going to be really crude right now. We're not going to have anybody around to wipe our asses because we don't have enough people.
And she did get a lot of heat for that comment, but I think she got the backlash because she said the quiet part out loud, not because it's not what they actually think. But before we move on, I want to refer to a clip between Megyn Kelly and Batya Unger-Sargon. I think that's how you say her last name. And she addresses this talking point that Democrats constantly insist that if we deport these people, entire blue collar industries will crumble. And two, that nobody in America wants to do these things but immigrant brown people.
I'll just give you one data point. There is not a single industry in America that is a majority illegal immigrant. Not one. Not a single one, which means that every time a Democrat says they're doing the jobs an American doesn't want, they are insulting millions and millions and millions of Americans who get a lot of dignity from cleaning toilets or doing farm work or any of the other number of mowing the lawn that these rich Democrats would rather kill themselves than do. And I think that's the key here. I mean, it's hilarious and it's infuriating that they call people racist who call them out for this. But at the end of the day, the Democrats' version of the economy is they want everybody who they care about, all of their, college educated professional managerial elites to be making, $250,000 a year. They want all manufacturing shipped overseas to China and all of the service industry jobs to be done by slaves who are brought here by cartels. That's their model of the economy.
And my response as a conservative to this particular point in the conversation is that we do see immigrants as human beings, no matter where they come from, which means we know that regardless of their skin color or what country they grew up in, they are capable of developing any skill that they set their mind to, that they are capable of excelling in any field that they are passionate about or succeeding in education if that's what they choose to do. And that even if they're not from America and they're not white Democrats, that they are capable of understanding laws, what it means to obey the law, and that they know what the consequences are if they break the law, and that they are not so crippled by the melanin level in their skin that they need white liberal Americans to coddle them because they didn't realize that they might get deported if they don't enter a country, any country, the right way through the legal process. We actually respect them as human beings and we treat them as such. And we don't treat them like they are stupid or lesser than anyone else. And we don't belittle them by constantly telling them that they need us to save them. But this is at least in part why unhinged liberal activists have been brainwashed to believe, as the white saviors that they truly see themselves as, that we need things like sanctuary cities, that we need to break our laws to protect them, and that it's okay to destroy things on their behalf because that's how virtuous they are. They are so moral and so good that they are willing to take the heat and the arrests and the rubber bullets if it means they are saving an immigrant who is just being bullied by white colonizers. And the gift to them is that they can pick our cotton and wipe our asses. And justifying breaking the law in this way is one way for the Democrats to attack the American principles and the system that they hate. They have led their base to believe that they are serving a greater good by attacking this system. And after they have gotten them to destroy entire communities based on this warped sense of morality and virtue, they make sure that they'll keep doing it by excusing the violence and pretending that the other side is really the enemy because they want to protect that oppressive system. So in the vein of excusing violence, let's look at a few clips of how the media has been covering this stuff. This is an ABC report where Mark Brown said that this isn't really a violent riot. So let's hear what he classifies it as.
Large group of people. It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation.
So yeah, it's just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn. That would be like saying it's just a bunch of people having fun breaking the locks on people's homes and enjoying their possessions. Or just a bunch of people having fun with someone else's bank account, enjoying a nice lunch on their credit card or a whole new wardrobe with their wallet. It's all totally harmless. And if we said that about any other sort of crime, would you have more break-ins or less? Would you have more theft or less? Would you have more chaos or less? You know, if the Democrats are as smart as they say they are, and they truly are the party of the educated, then there is no way for them to say that they don't know that downplaying bad behavior encourages more bad behavior. They know it. That's why they do it. And here is CNN's Dana Bash saying that what's happening really isn't a violent riot.
It's pretty bad.
That's a different question. But I just want to just state for the record that what did happen in 1992 was so different from what we're seeing now. I mean, that was a real riot that went all across the city of Los Angeles after a verdict in the Rodney King case. This is a situation where the LA County Police,
Dana,
it's not good, but they're saying that they have it under control, and the president is sending national troops, federal troops, in a way that
we can look at this and we can obviously
time.
see that it is not under control.
So this is what's known as gaslighting. Don't believe what you see with your own eyes. Believe what we tell you. And by the way, this is a photo from the 1992 LA riots. This is what's going on now. They look completely different. Nothing alike at all. The question is, what would these people consider a riot? Oh, but we know.
There's quite a bit of video you haven't seen. And that video tells a very different story about what happened on January 6th. More than 40,000 hours of surveillance footage from in and around the Capitol have been withheld from the public. And once you see the video, you'll understand why. Taken as a whole, the video record does not support the claim that January 6th was an insurrection. In fact, it demolishes that claim. And that's exactly why the Democratic Party and its allies in the media prevented you from seeing it.
Yeah, we have people walking through a building, even picking up after themselves. And according to the left, that is a riot, and that is the real threat. If you ask any of them to this day about MAGA Republicans or conservative violence, the only example that they can ever point to is January 6th, which happened almost 5 years ago, where, of course, yes, there was chaos and there were people doing things that they should not have been doing, but it lasted for a couple of hours. Most people involved were not destructive or violent, and we had President Trump putting out tweets to discourage violence, where he said, January 6, 2021, I'm asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful, no violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you. And then when the Democrat media told him that he needed to put out a statement telling people to stop what they were doing, he did just that.
You have to go home now. We have to have peace. We have to have law and order. We have to respect our great people in law and order. I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. And go home and go home in peace.
Now, is that what the Democrats are doing, especially with what's happening in Los Angeles? Of course not. They are reinforcing the brainwashing of their base that Trump is a dictator, your actions are justified, and if you don't do this stuff, Trump will create martial law.
Of this kind of disruption. And so now we're getting what I always knew he would be like. This is a dishonorable, cruel individual who only cares about himself. And he's using deportation as a way to enhance his position with all of those right-wingers out there who do not want this country to be a country of people coming from other places. It's outrageous, it is horrible, and we've got to make sure that we do everything that we possibly can, because I think he's up to creating martial law.
Justified in their actions, there was LA City Council member Eunice Hernandez, who said that if law enforcement tries to stop them, then everybody needs to riot more.
They know how quickly we mobilize. That's why they're changing tactics, because community defense works and our resistance has slowed them down before. And if they're escalating their tactics, then so are we. When they show up, we gotta show up even stronger.
And to jump in on this train of encouraging violence, Karen Bass stepped in to shift the accountability on what is going on by saying, well, if Trump hadn't demanded that people obey the law and come here through the legal process, then no one would be burning things down.
Well, I just have to say that if you dial back time and go to Friday, if immigration raids had not happened here, we would not have the disorder that went on last night. I will tell you that it is peaceful now, but we do not know where and when the next raids will be. That is the concern, because people in the city have a rapid response network. If they see ICE, they go out and they protest. And so it's just a recipe for pandemonium that is completely unnecessary. Nothing was happening here. Los Angeles was peaceful before Friday. When we find out when and where the other raids are going to happen, that will determine how the police respond.
So what she's basically saying is, if you let people come here illegally and let them live on government assistance so they can pick our cotton and wipe our asses, then we won't be forced to set things on fire. But if you try to enforce the law and expect them to go through the legal process, then we can't help it. We're just going to start lighting matches and terrorizing innocent communities. We're not responsible for the chaos. Trump is. And in lockstep, of course, Gavin Newsom had to jump in and reinforce this message of blaming Trump.
Fox News is calling it the LA riots. Is it a peaceful protest? What's happening? What are you seeing?
Well, I mean, look, Donald Trump has created the conditions you see on your TV tonight. He's exacerbated the conditions. He's, lit the proverbial match. He's putting fuel on this fire ever since he announced he was taking over the National Guard. An illegal act, an immoral act, an unconstitutional act, and we're going to test that theory with a lawsuit tomorrow.
And they know that they can do this because the words Trump and MAGA are what have been programmed as buzzwords for their base. And they know that they can use them to shift the blame off of themselves. You know, the ones who are actually allowing this to happen. Because if their mindless base realizes that the people they voted for are the ones who do have the power to keep law and order and to protect innocent law-abiding citizens and to not let their state burn to the ground, yet they are choosing to let it happen because they want this, then their base might get angry at them for letting a big, productive city full of opportunity descend into rubble and take their power away from them by not voting them into office in the future. And if liberals don't vote for people like Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass back into power, then the Democrat agenda to destroy America is hindered. They wouldn't be able to use the tactics that we have discussed to take down our country because they would lose their activist army, and the Constitution that protects people and not politicians would stay in place. And just to review all of those tactics one more time as a summary, create a victim class, then dehumanize them so that activists can act on the idea of being their savior, attach virtue to to destruction and morals to crimes, belittle those crimes and tell people that what is happening really isn't, and that if it is happening, it's just in response to the people who want martial law and a dictatorship, so it's all justified. And then when people start to question things too much, just mention the word Trump, and they'll completely short circuit, fall back in line, and focus on the mission. And they will act out accordingly, like setting a police car on fire or decimating the very city that they claim they want to be a haven for brown people, essentially making it look like a third world country while saying that the people who came from a third world country are better off there. Instead of living in Haitian rubble with no food or water or businesses to buy goods from, they can live in Los Angeles rubble with no food, water, or businesses to buy essentials from. And if you're wondering what it looks like when all of these things have been effective, as Trump is sending in the National Guard to do the job that Governor Newsom and Karen Bass won't do and keep Los Angeles from descending into a total hellhole, more so than it already is, this woman's brain is so broken that it has her pissed at Trump for stopping it instead of aiming her anger at the people who are actually creating an environment of total devastation for middle and lower class Americans.
Sorry, sucking sons of a that think that you're just gonna go and arrest a bunch of protesters because they're out there doing something you're too afraid to do. They're out there fighting for our freedom, and they're out there fighting for our right for free speech, because you, all 2,000 of National Guardsmen, you brave fucking soldiers, you think you're gonna march in those streets and tell those people to shut the fuck up? That is what you decided to fight for. You chose to defend us against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and you failed. And that's why they're out there on those streets. So who the fuck are you to tell them to shut the fuck up? Why don't you grow a pair, take off your mask, and tell me my name? Because my name is Alex, and I say you!
And it also looks like this. We want to stay here, and we'll show that to you by burning your flag and spitting on the ashes. And then we get tweets like this from Harry Sisson, where he says, we're seeing Americans being tear gassed, shot at, thrown to the ground, and arrested by Trump's ICE agents in LA right now. It looks like a war zone. This is what Trump has done to America. I mean, your brain has to be scrambled to watch a group of people set things on fire, attack police cars, loot buildings, destroy the place, be held accountable for their actions, yet still blame the person that says, hey, you can't do this. It has definitely been a wild experiment of mass psychosis to watch, particularly over the last few years. And the reason that things are worse now than they were even a couple of years ago is because the moral, sane, logical Democrats who do want truth, who want law, and who want order, and who have seen the left for exactly who they are and are seeing right through all of their lies, well, they left the Democrat Party. They might not be Republicans or conservatives, but they do not align with the Democrats anymore. So all that is left on the left are the most unhinged and easily manipulated. The ones with the weakest minds, the lowest moral compass, the most angry, and the ones who are most lost with no meaning in their lives other than to burn and destroy because they truly think that they are doing us all a favor. They are the only ones that are left on the Democrat base. And while they are the minority in this country, there are enough of them to make life miserable for everyone else in their community and to act out as the true fascists by saying, if you don't obey our political agenda, then we'll destroy life, even for innocent people. And if innocent people end up suffering, it's because that you didn't obey us. Their suffering is on you, not us. And unfortunately, in the process of their psychosis, they disenfranchise and marginalize every single group and individual that they claim to be fighting for. But they're too blinded by their rage and their programming to see it. They are right where the Democrats want them. And that is why all of this is happening, and why every single time that we try to restore order and to fight to get America back on track, that this is the retaliation that we can expect from Democrats because they don't like it. Anyway, I know that this was a long one, but I appreciate you so much for watching. I would love to hear all of your thoughts on this in the comments below. Please, again, subscribe to my channel. I would love to get to 25,000 subscribers by the end of summer, and one click by you will help me to get there. If you would like to support my channel in other ways, there is a Buy Me a Coffee link in the pinned comment below and other ways to support me in the description box.
That is all I have for you in this one, so thank you so much for being here. Keep it real, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.